So, by now we have spoken about many things, and this is highly interesting, I think, because we have only spoken about the A part of Round Midnight. I'm not going to cover the B part in this series of videos, but the idea now is that everything I've spoken about you can apply to almost any other jazz standard, or at least the principles you can apply. So we have spoken about setting your intention. It's interesting and important to decide the kind of sound you're after, right? And reharmonization. And then I showed you chord splitting in bar 3 and 5, how you can apply triplet chord splitting in bar 4. And last time we spoke about two specific voicings for the E flat minor 7, which was this one, and A flat 7, and the benefit of going through and how to apply the voicing drilling method that I showed you last time. We're going to continue on that this week. How you can tweak the melody and apply the darkest chord, that was the spooky chord, right? This one, in bars 7 and 8, and how you can move around the darkest chord through the diminished scale like we did, right? And so on and so forth. Today we're going to continue and round this 3-part video series off, and we're going to first of all play Round Midnight. This is just a repeat, so let me play that for you. So this one is an AABA form, and that means you can play the A part twice, and then there's a B part, and then there's another A part in the end. So you're going to play the A part twice, and when you are playing, even if you're improvising, try to come up with contrasts. So the second time you play, you can play similar to the first time, but you should always look for ways to change things or to evolve the music to the next level. We're going to speak a little bit about that today. That's going to be interesting. So pay attention now to the dynamics. What is going on? Let me just play for you that clip where I repeat the melody. That's just 20 seconds. Alright, so that was the second time I play the melody. Now compare that to the first time. As you can tell, I played it differently, but how? The melody was played more intense now, and the harmony was with slightly different chords. And I reused a similar idea to what I did the last time when I played the darkest chord, right? Where we moved around this strange sounding darkest chord, right? We did that last time, and I did use a similar idea to that. So the example I showed the last time is called Symmetrical chord patterns, and that is when you move up or down in equal steps. And we know that 12 divided by 4 is 3. And if you're good at math, you also know that 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that means there are 12 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's correct. This time too. And it's got equal steps if you play now, for example, C, and go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and another 4. Now you are around. So this is a plus chord, or an augmented triad. And what you can do also is to go up 3 steps. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you have a diminished 7th chord. Now, the point of showing you this is that once you realize that there is something called symmetrical chord patterns, then you can also realize that you can apply this principle to almost anything. Here's one example. If I play a G7 plus 9 or sharp 9 and sharp 5 to flat 9. That's very common, right? for example. And you can apply that and transfer it around on your keyboard in minor third steps. And now this chord here is the same as I started with, right? So that is one example of a symmetrical pattern, and let's see that applied in the tune, right? Because here you can also play like that in the tune. That's what I did, but I played it slightly different. As you can see in the second example here, I was playing like this. So now the first chord, instead of G plus 7 sharp 9, now you play like this. So now it becomes a F7 sus flat 5. But you can do the same here. You can move that around as well, like that. Or you can combine those, right? So that's what I did. I combined the first chord, F7 sus, with a flat 5, and then to B flat 7 sharp 9 with a sharp 5 as well, and then this one. But what I want to show you is that once you know this principle, then you can also add more chords to that place if you see this pattern. That's what I'm after here, to show you that you can do that as well once you get familiarized with this way of thinking. Now, let me try to do that on the fly. This is not rehearsed, so let's see how that goes if I play this tune now. I think that worked very well. Now I applied that way of thinking, that principle, into my playing. On the fly, that was not practiced, so I'm sure you could work it out yourself as well. Now, if you think that was exciting, just wait to see now, because what's coming now is something even more exciting, at least I think. This is stacked minor 13 chords a la Herbie Hancock. So let's hear it now. This is where I applied that in the tune. Did you get that? It was a completely rearrangement of the original melody, so let's just play that part isolated one more time. And what is also interesting is to get the contrast from the first time I play that. So here is the first time I played the same passage. I bet you remember that, especially if you practice the triplet split chords thing I showed you before. This is interesting, I think. Now what I played is a B minor 13, going to E plus with a sharp 9. And then I was simply moving down the B flat minor 13 chromatically. So that one is what I call a stack of minor 13 voicings, because this one is the minor 13. I'm going to explain now how it is built. So this chord is something that you may know. It's on every other key when you play a minor chord. And also, by the way, I have made a YouTube video about this in the past, so you can check that out. You can also check out how to apply the voicing drilling method to the chord, right? As I showed you in part 1. And this one is easier to apply once you have done that. So I highly recommend that you go through that and do that, because this is a powerful chord. Here are the steps again, right? So now what you do is to practice the chord up and down chromatically. And so on and so forth, up and down. And then you do it through the whole tone scale. So just skip every other key, right? And that one also needs to be done from D flat, starting on D flat, right? And I also highly recommend that you practice this one throughout the circle of fifths, sounding like this. You should know it so well, I think, that you don't have to look at the sheet, and you should also recognize that sound and that's what will happen once you start working on these voicings systematically. So, to conclude, that was a stacked minor 13 chords a la Herbie Hancock. Highly useful. I highly recommend that you practice that one systematically. Now let's move on to the next one, which is bar 5 the second time. So let me just play that clip for you. So this is another thing I wanted to add to help you understand, because dynamics is important and dynamic change is important as well. So I was playing now, like that. The way I played now was without any dynamics, and what I did actually was something more like this. It went from medium to very loud and then to subito piano. So this is a very, very important principle. So pay attention to the dynamic change in a variation in how you play and how others are playing. So the concept is to make contrasts. And in this case, I was playing a sharp and dissonant chord, which I played loud, versus a dark and a warm chord and softer chord, right? So that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying response chords, because you play a chord and then you respond with something different down here. And as I said, everything is to make more contrasts as you're playing. So how do you practice that? This is harder to practice systematically, but you gotta just be aware of what is going on as you're playing and as somebody else is playing. So try to apply the idea of response chords and applying different dynamics as you're playing, right? Making jazz and making music, generally speaking, every time we do that, it requires us to think about these things and that we are adding contrasts. Now, let's move on to the next one, which is bar 6 the second time. And now compare that to the first time I played it. So the first time I played up here, second time I played down here. It's the same idea, I was just playing it slightly different, and now the second time I played it darker, and again, I'm just repeating myself, but you gotta make contrasts and be aware of what is going on. And a tiny contrast is better than no contrast, and sometimes it's better than a huge contrast, at least that's in my opinion. Now, the last thing I want to mention is what to do on the second house on the second playthrough. So this is now right before we play the B part, so let's listen to that. So that was a short little clip, but it shows one of my favorite chords of all times, which is the C flat over B flat. It goes like this. If I don't resolve it to the B flat triad, it's not going to sound that great. And by the way, I would call this normally a B over B flat. So this one is also dissonant, but in a different way, I think. You may have practiced this one, which is also a triad in second inversion, right? So a triad in second inversion. So think of this as a B chord, right? Second inversion. And before we went up a half step with the left hand, right? But this time we're going down a half step with the left hand. So that one resolves very nice to the triad. And then you can end on a sus2 chord or something like this. I like this because there is a lot going on in this arrangement or this improvisation. It's a mix between an arrangement and an improvisation. But when you have been playing all of these strange sounding chords and speaking about contrasts, it is now really nice to bring it home and play something that's very soft and very inside. At least that's in my head. So the question is, should you use the voicing drilling method on this chord or not? That's what I've shown you in the past, right? And the answer is no, I don't think so, because it's easy to find the voicing without drilling it in, but try it out in other tunes such as The Autumn Leaves. So this chord is something that is fairly easy to apply wherever you like. Test it out. I like that chord a lot. It's so simple, but it's so powerful at the same time. Check the link in the description if you want the sheet with the various assignments. Also, I've added a lot of extra assignments for you who are a student of mine or a jazz piano supporter. Link to become one is also in the description. So thank you for staying until the end. There will be a lot more since studying jazz standards can teach us so much. And usually they are also fun to play. I already have a long list of ideas for you, so stay motivated, practice a lot, and until next time, take care of your music.